Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
This is the best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Back with you on a Wednesday morning, Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. By the way, you know this. This is Barty or Cardi by Cardi B, and songs like that are featured on our Amazon Music playlist, the simplest way to listen to the music you love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at AmazonMusic.com. It renews automatically, and you can cancel anytime. But again, why would you? Why would you cancel?
There you go.
We got some great guests coming up later on today. The Masters Par 3 starts today, and we're getting into what could be one of the most interesting Masters of all time. Jack Nicklaus, 18-time major winner, 6-time winner of the Green Jacket.
And he has a great story that I heard about said Green Jacket when he actually got his very own Green Jacket. It's pretty cool.
And there are things you can and cannot do with that Green Jacket, and we'll get into that with him. Adam Schefter, NFL Insider, will join us in a little bit to talk about what the heck is going on and what are the ramifications for the New England Patriots now that they've made the big trade, picking up another number one and shipping out Brandin Cooks. In the 9 o'clock hour, Connor Williams, who may be the first offensive tackle taken in the draft from the University of Texas, will join us. And if you haven't heard his story, you need to hear his story. And for anyone that feels slighted or felt picked on, sometimes revenge can be sweet, and the motivation can come in the most unbelievable ways. You'll want to hear his story.
Good story, and we'll talk about it. We have Todd McShay and Mel Kiper's mock drafts out. We'll talk about those in about an hour.
Can't do it until then.
Can't do it till then, so we can tell you where Connor went, where they think these the quarterbacks have shifted around to as well.
I can for the right price.
No, you can't actually. And then at 9:30, we'll have a Marty party with Barty or Cardi. I guess it all comes together. Marty Smith will join us. Marty Smith's America podcast, and of course he's had a chance to sit down with both Tiger and Rory before the Masters. So that will be a lot of fun. We got all of that, but let's start with what's trending. And hopefully for the Yankees and Giancarlo Stanton, this will not be trending. His home debut, what about as bad as you could possibly go?
Wow.
Again, in his Yankees debut in Toronto, he was great. He had 2 home runs, drove in a bunch of runs. And then he put on the platinum sombrero in the rain and cold at Yankee Stadium. 0 for 5 strikeouts, and the boos rained down like the moisture from the heavens.
The platinum sombrero. Wow. After he struck out, that last time I think it was the 8th inning, and walking back getting booed.
Welcome to New York.
That's exactly right. And as even he said, he kind of deserved to get booed the way he played.
He did. Thankfully, there were other players. Didi Gregorius hit 2 3-run homers in the 11-4 win, but Giancarlo Stanton knows there will be better days, and he's happy he has his teammates around him.
I was awful today, but, Didi picked me up and the rest of the guys, so, that's what you need on a not-so-good night for an individual. Not ideal for me, but good things not all about me, and you put up a performance like that, you should get some boos. So, like I said, not ideal, but, we got another one, plenty more.
We want to see the home runs, but at this point he's got 9 strikeouts. Aaron Judge has 7 strikeouts, so we saw that a little bit. It was a long ball or the strikeout for a lot of people, and you wonder if it's just going to continue for these two. You look forward to that shot, but, unfortunately walking back to the dugout after striking out's there as well.
If you're going to do it on the rainy day when your team's winning and no one's really there to watch anyway. There will be plenty more pressure-packed days for him in New York that will net a lot more scrutiny than this, so I hope he can brush this one off because worse is coming.
He will. But here's the biggest takeaway from this game. Man, Giancarlo Stanton, our big slugger, was awful. 0 for 5 strikeouts. They won 11-4.
Yeah.
Okay? There is plenty of firepower in that Yankee lineup, and 2 3-run homers from Didi. And you still have Judge and Sanchez. They're loaded, man. They are loaded.
And only the 7th highest payroll.
Exactly.
As well. How about
That's
that?
because
they're doing it on the cheap.
Just like the Rams with Jared Goff. They got Aaron Judge and Didi on those low-end contracts right now. That will not be the case in a couple of years. But again, the takeaway is Giancarlo Stanton can still be awful, and the Yankees can bludgeon any pitching staff to death. We continue. Speaking of bludgeoning, we won't see it. little disappointed. Not surprised with the results that came out recently, but the Canelo Alvarez Triple G matchup is off. Rematch.
Yeah. Again, Alvarez failed his A sample and B sample, both for the PED, and said again he got it and he was training in Mexico, said he got it eating the meat in Mexico. He says he's clean. He's never cheated. He has another hearing about this April 18th and didn't feel he'd be able to train at the way he needed to, even if he were allowed to go into this fight. So this fight is off. This is the one we've all been looking forward to, the rematch. That's why we're so hype on LeBron and Nick Saban, because we don't have this fight anymore. But it'll eventually come back. Triple G still has to fight under contract, so there'll still be a fight that day. It just won't be with Alvarez, and we'll just have to wait till they get a new date.
Yeah, a bit of a stub toe for boxing here, because that was a fight last time that certainly drew a lot of controversy, but a lot of eyes. It was an entertaining fight. Everyone was looking forward to the next round of it. We thought we were going to buy the Mexican meat excuse here because we had seen it pop up in other sports. We talked about it in the NFL.
Yeah.
No go. That's a tough blow for boxing.
He says, this is from Alvarez, I have always been a clean fighter. I always will be a clean fighter. I want to prove without a doubt that I have never intentionally ingested clenbuterol. That was what was in his system.
And that is something that is put into cattle. It is.
It happened in the NFL to a lineman, and he was
Dwayne
cleared.
Brown.
He was cleared of any wrongdoing. So,
but the bottom line is the fight we wanted to see is off for now. It'll happen again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just off for now. And then this next one, you can look at it a lot of different ways. The Cavs, for the second straight time, found a way to beat the Raptors, 112-106. Cavs have a 9-1 record over the past 10 games, including 2 straight against the Eastern Conference leading Raptors. And LeBron said after the game, it's just what I've been telling you guys for a while. We don't know. We don't know what we can become. We have no idea, but right now we're playing good ball. So I think this game means a lot more for the Cavs, but I'm curious to think ahead what it really means for Toronto.
Oh, that's where I am on this. I'm completely on the mental side of this, forgetting the play at all on the court, because the Raptors can maybe sat there and puffed their chests out when they beat the Cavs in January by 33, and then the half of the team disappeared, and then they haven't beaten them since. So, and we know the faltering that's gone on in the playoffs, and as we talked about before, Mike, we have both seen this. We have both seen the mental aspect when something's in your head and you can't jump that hurdle and you're just waiting for the shoe to drop on what's going to go wrong this time. So Toronto's got a lot to overcome in that category.
Conversely, for the Cavs, like LeBron said, we're not even sure what we can fully become yet. And how's this? I saw Wendy tweet this last night. Brian Windhorst said, the Cavs are 23-9 with Jose Calderon as their starting point guard. It's a ridiculous summation of their ridiculous regular season. And it drives home the fact that there's been so much shuffling in this lineup. I think it's highlighted above everything else. And it shouldn't need any more highlighting, but it does. The remarkable consistency of LeBron James that's going to absolve him from any wrongdoing this summer when it's time to make that decision.
That's what makes this so interesting, is that we've seen this Cavs team just sort of morph all season long. I mean, all season long. And to LeBron's point, I don't think anybody even knows what the Cavs are going to be. But it is interesting, too, because not only do you have this with the Raptors in the East, on the same way you sort of have this with Golden State and Houston in the West.
Oh, the Rockets, after what they did last year, the Rockets, losing in 6 to San Antonio, and Harden's disappearing act in Game 6 of the hump they need to get over there. But Golden State, again, losing last night, with the injuries that they're dealing with, that's the real question for them, is how healthy are they going to be when they really need it in the playoffs.
So again, we'll see what happens down the stretch of the regular season and whether or not the mental hurdle will be there for the Raptors against the Cavs and the Rockets against Golden State, the team they've admitted we're obsessed with. Daryl Morey has said that, the Rockets GM, we are obsessed with trying to find ways to beat the Warriors. And that was off the top. And then, of course, there is the story which has dominated the headlines ever since Adam Schefter broke it yesterday, that the Patriots said goodbye to Brandin Cooks and traded him away to the Rams for a first-round pick. So that gives the Patriots now 2 1s, 2 2s, and a 3 heading into this draft. And there's a couple of things we need to get into. In the last hour, we sort of did a deep dive into what this meant for the Rams.
Right.
But what this means for the Patriots is infinitely more interesting because of the possibilities. First and foremost, people are saying how unusual it is for the Patriots to do something like this. I would argue the exact opposite is true. This is exactly what the Patriots do. Schefter just tweeted, by the way, this morning, they tried to work out some sort of contract extension with Brandin Cooks in the offseason. It wasn't going anywhere. So that's when they decided, okay, fine. If you're not going to play for our price, we're not going to pay you to pay for your play for your price. Mm-hmm. So that's not going to happen. That's exactly what New England does. They do this all the time. They have a benchmark for every player, no matter how good they are, and how valuable they think they are to their team. And if you're not willing to play at their price, you're gone. And the beauty of this for New England, what did they give up to get Brandin Cooks? A first-round pick.
Oh, right.
And what did they get back?
A first-round pick. Yeah.
So basically, we got a guy for a year. We got to a Super Bowl. Thanks very much. And the cost we made to get you, we're going to get that back.
Yeah, he had over 1,000 yards receiving.
It is the most New England thing of all time.
Yeah, it is. And now they pick up, what do they have, 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, 4 in the first 2?
4 in the first 63 picks.
They're one of 3 teams now that have 2 picks in the first round. The Browns 1-4, the Bills 12-22, and the Patriots now 23-31 for a team that they don't rely on their rookies to come in and be rookies of the year. They rely on proven talent and using picks to get said proven talent from other teams and say, we're going to win right now. And you are at the most, we need to continue winning right now because and I heard you say it this morning, Tom Brady can say all he wants. He can just play till 50. I got 2 more years tops on on the level or close to the level that he's at now. So they are still in a win now mentality. So while some of these picks may go to players because you have to keep, cycling new ones through, the others can be great ammunition to get other veteran players that they need to help them like they've done years in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them at times dump, especially once you get to the later rounds, because to your point, they don't think those guys are going to make the team. They're pretty sure that they can just go and bank that on something coming in later years in these rounds. But now it comes at an interesting crux because we know for the Patriots, that Tom Brady window, whenever it's closing, the interesting relationship surrounding Belichick and Brady in this organization. Is there a quarterback at the end of the first round in one of those spots or in the second round just outside of this group of core guys that they can look at and say in that Jimmy Garoppolo mold, you can bring in, you can hold on for a few years, you get him in the first round if you did a cost-controlled fifth-year option if you really want to max out this Tom Brady lifespan, and then you've actually got a succession plan that you can build into your Patriot way because we know that's something they value.
Golic and Wingo here with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, talking about the big trade yesterday, Brandin Cooks going to the Rams and what the Patriots do now with their ammunition. And it's so interesting, guys. Not only do they get a first-round pick, they get a 6th-round pick.
Right.
You know what pick number that is in the 6th round?
Tell me it's 199.
Oh, 199?
198.
Oh, there you go.
198.
Yeah.
And, of course, Tom Brady was the 199th pick in the 6th round when he was picked up by the Patriots. And we're now talking about they get the 6th round pick at 198 back in a year where they're looking at potentially the next guy to replace Tom Brady because they had Jimmy Garoppolo. And then, of course, for a mere pittance of a 2nd round pick, he was traded away to San Francisco in a thing where he wasn't really shopped. It was one call. You want him? Come get him. They took him. San Francisco did. So now the question becomes the Patriots with their ammunition. Do they go after a quarterback? Do they use those picks to move up to get one, or are they not sleeping on a quarterback that I think a lot of people are sleeping on?
Yeah.
And that would be Oklahoma State's Mason
Rudolph,
right, who could be available at the back end of that first round with one of those picks.
Well, they certainly have the picks to do it if they want to grab one of those guys, while still if they want to use those other picks as either trade or getting a player to use for this year on the field. Because if you draft a quarterback, he's not going to be playing, barring injury. So, and I'm sure Tom Brady would be like, forget all that. They got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's win right now. But you have to be smart about this, even though we went through the whole thing last year of did Bill really want to get rid of Garoppolo, or how that whole thing, the whole underbelly of how we thought maybe it was working last year, to where eventually they do have to do that. They have to find somebody that they believe in that could take over for Tom in a couple of years. And to your point, if you get him in the end of the first round, that's that key 5th-year option that you now can control, so you have that extra year of it. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Do I think when push comes to shove, they'll probably go for a secondary player, a cornerback or a safety or something like that? But would it surprise me to knowing you get that extra year, that 5th-year option in the first round? No, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, we know the controversy surrounding Malcolm Butler, but that was a guy who, before all of the Super Bowl hoopla, played the vast majority of the snaps for you on defense. So that's a hole that you've got to fill.
Well, they did get Jason McCarty from the Browns. They traded for.
Right? They got the McCarty brothers. They got the McCarty twins.
They
did.
They
for
did.
The first time.
I think more importantly than anything, you're dealing with a different defensive coordinator now than Matt Patricia who's been making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what for a while now on that defense that's sort of been amorphous. But as far as true needs, I think you can afford to take a look at quarterback near the end of that first round because you're still a team that was in the Super Bowl last year and had every chance to win it. It's not like you are desperate for one piece that's the difference between you and there. You get Edelman back this season. You've still got Gronk at this point. There's a lot to look forward to.
See, this is the real curious thing about this. What do you do with this giant booty of picks now? Because the one thing we can say for sure with the New England Patriots, as amorphous as they've been, way to just throw that one in there, Junior.
Casual.
I was very impressed. I was very impressed. Is whatever they have now will not be the picks they use over the 3 days of the draft.
They're the kings of moving back, aren't they?
They're the kings of moving.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Did you see the tweet from Schefter yesterday that in 2017 they traded every one of their original draft picks
Exactly.
away?
So whatever they have now is not going to be what they pick.
Yeah, don't try and crystal ball them.
Let's just be clear about that. So the question then becomes, what's the best use of this ammunition, this bounty that you have, okay? Is it to find players right away in your window with Tom Brady, which I agree with you, I can't see it more than 2 more years.
Right.
It's not possible for me to think about a 44-year-old quarterback playing at a very high level. God bless him if he does, but I just don't see that's possible. So do you say to yourself now as an organization, we have a chance to begin the reboot, and let's sort of get as many players and picks as possible for what will be coming next after the Tom Brady era, when it ends, is over, or are we, damn it, we were this close to winning number 6. Let's go all in with these picks to try and squeeze out one more while we've got everybody here.
Well, I think to Mike's point, and I agree, I mean, they were a Super Bowl team last year. You know, while they lost some players, they filled those spots to a point. So I don't know if they have to do a lot of building with rookies and draft picks so you can use those as ammunition. And the whole key about the quarterback is
what would you do?
I would probably live for the now. I think I would live for the now.
I think Bill wants to live for the future.
Well, I mean,
that's the tough part is trying to decipher motivation here, though, because we've, for the first time, had a weird layer of the Patriots peel back that we never see that's called into question who's really calling the shots. These moves seem Belichickian. This is Bill back in the driver's seat, getting rid of Brandin Cooks at the time they did. So you wonder now going forward for him, if Bill's really here for the long haul still, because there was questions for a while about his future in New England and how much longer he wanted to do this. If he's here for the long haul, it would probably behoove you to go out and start making moves that reflect that.
So then can we take the easy answer and say because of all the ammunition, they can do both? That they can take young players that could help them, you know, now and more in the future and still have the ammunition.
Wait, you're the one that always tells me there's no ambiguity. It's black or white. It's love it or shove it. You can't be dropping that card.
Not with New England, it isn't.
You can't be doing that.
Not with New England, it isn't. We just heard they recycle their picks, man. I'll tell you what, there are 2 things that happened that, and I thought this anyway. But I think they're solidified. I don't think really the trade had a lot to do with it, but I never saw it going another way. That Odell Beckham is going to be a Giant and Gronk is absolutely positively playing this year.
Well,
but I
think
Gronk
this absolutely puts a dent in the trade market for Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. The question for the Giants becomes, what do we still want to do with Odell Beckham Jr.? But you're right, the Rams being out of it, it does hinder their ability to move him to a place where everybody would be happy with it. There's no question about that. But the Patriots, I find this whole thing fascinating. To your point, Junior, it's always been blinders. This way, everybody else out of the way, Bill's going to do what Bill wants to do. Clearly, some of that was not the case this past year. So what are we talking about?
What do you think they'll do then?
I have no idea, and that's what makes it so great. I mean, listen, I love the draft anyway for a million different reasons, but the fact that you have New England sitting there, we can move up, we can jump ahead of some of these guys that think they're going to take a quarterback and steal their thunder and get the guy we want, or we can maybe get the guy that we think might be the best out of all of them in Mason Rudolph, who, by the way, is only available in this draft class because they took away his redshirt year with 2 games left.
Right.
They were 5-5 that year. They got a bunch of quarterbacks hurt, and Mike Gundy decided to roll the dice and put in Mason Rudolph there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this draft class. He'd be in a completely different draft class, which means we might have 6 quarterbacks go in the first round, which would be bonkers.
Would be crazy.
It would be absolutely bonkers. So just the permutations here are absolutely ridiculous. And the one thing about Brandin Cooks being gone, if you're in New England, don't worry about it. Because he was gone in the first quarter or the second quarter, second quarter of the Super Bowl last year when he got the hit.
Oh, right.
And guess what happened? Tom Brady threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl. The year before, they didn't have Gronk. Tom Brady threw for 8 million yards in the comeback win. And oh, by the way, they didn't have Julian Edelman either.
It's always like, you think you're valuable? Well, look what we did when you weren't there.
Yeah, it is amazing where the Patriots stack value through all this, because you look back at who they've been willing to pay, and the last two big paydays that I can really remember both went to tight ends on that team.
Correct.
It was Aaron Hernandez and it was Rob Gronkowski.
Well, they paid Gilmore last year, didn't they?
Yeah,
they paid him pretty well.
It was decent, but it wasn't break the bank money for a cornerback.
And especially on offense, it's just interesting as we watch the copycat league. You've seen the value of tight ends skyrocket everywhere as the Patriots got to market early.
They did, and look, they'll find ways to move the ball. Let's be clear. We've lost our home run hitter. You didn't have him in the Super Bowl, and you still threw for 500 yards. Okay, that. They'll figure it out. And what I love about the Patriots, they're making it work with receivers nobody else wanted, like Chris Hogan and Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola. When
Chris Hogan played lacrosse.
He was. Don't lax me, bro. So we'll see what happens. To me, the most important thing that happened to the Patriots this offseason, they lost two of their starting tackles.
Yeah, they did.
Nate Solder and Fleming. Now, Cannon is still there.
And they brought Tobin in from the Seahawks.
But if I'm Brady, I'm more concerned about that more than anything else.
Golic
and Wingo.
and Wingo.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and the ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We played this yesterday, and it's going to stick with me forever. I'm going to make it my ringtone. Stephen A. went absolutely bonkers when some of the quotes came out from Jim Mora about Josh Rosen and whether or not people should be concerned. And he wanted no part of it for the Jets or the Giants if they take Josh Rosen at 3 overall, that he may have to be worried about him thinking about something besides football. And the end of it was something like this.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Can I just say that at some point in my life, I would like to care about something as much as Stephen A. Smith cares about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. Again, this was at the end of a whatever you want diatribe, rant, whatever, and this was the crescendo sticking the landing.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
There was a point in my life where I would have said something like that, and I think I'll set it up so you'll hit it at the right time. 2013.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
Sitting down in Miami.
Yeah.
In a stadium.
Yeah.
Watching a football game.
Yeah.
Watching Alabama.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Play for the national championship.
Yeah.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 minutes into the game. Someone looked at me and said, "Hey, Mike, do you believe what's going on?"
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
And just like that, it was a long 4 hours. Yeah. It was a really long 4 hours.
And I was contractually obligated to stay with 2 kids on the team.
There you go. Thanks, kids. Love you. But again, his energy is, again, I'll say it again. I would like to, at some point in my life, care about something as much as Stephen A. Smith cares about everything. Yeah. It's a remarkable
really
thing.
Is.
You know what else is remarkable? One man's quest to change his role in life from behind-the-scenes researcher to in front of the camera and microphone personality. And we're doing it again. Oh, it's sponsored. My God.
No.
Breadamology is now brought to you by Discover Card, who will match all the cash back new card members earn at the end of their first years. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply, so let's play Breadamology.
It's the game show segment that's captivating a nation.
The origin is Latin, and it has been sort of corrupted over time.
Like this show.
Making everyone that hears it smarter.
In the 1800s, English authors were likely to partake in opium den activities.
Now, with your host, researcher Brett.
Take a guess where that came from. Brett's got your answer.
It's Breadamology.
Here are the categories. Words and their meanings. That's straightforward.
We are all about making you smarter before you go to work to try and win yourself some money or some type of bet at the water cooler.
And we're all about making ourselves look stupid in the process. So we're okay with that.
When this happened last time, Brett, who got every single one of them?
Mike Golic.
Thank you very much.
You were 4 for 4. I was 3 for 4.
Yep.
Either one would. Bubba has got all. He's keeping all the stats. Okay.
All right.
Either one of us would get us into the Hall of Fame. 4 for 4, 3 for 4. Batting 1,000, batting 750.
Mine was still way better than yours.
Let's see what happens this time around. All right, Brett, you ready to play Breadamology?
Yeah, let's give it a run.
Here we go.
So we got 4 phrases today.
Okay.
Number 1, dressed to the nines.
Okay.
Dressed to the nines.
Fancy.
Yeah,
fancy
sure.
dress.
Sure.
Okay. Possible origin number 1. In Old English, to the eyes was stated as to thine eynes, which eventually came to be to the nines over time, to signify that things were pleasing to look at.
Pleasing to look at.
Okay.
All right, I like that.
Or number 2, reference to the 9 muses of classical mythology, with to the nines being associated with a mythologically high standard.
Okay, I can just say right away, these are much tougher than last week.
Yeah, they are.
Week. Much tougher.
I'm going with number 1.
You're going with number 1?
I'm going number 1. And I quite honestly, I have to go number 1, but I can wait 10 minutes.
There's a cup right in front of you.
That's all right.
I will also go with the first one, Old English.
Oh, no!
We're all out. We're all out.
Mike's in the back behind the glass now.
Who cares?
He went. No
one cares.
I saw him hold up 2 fingers.
Get out.
He did.
So it was mythology. Wow.
Classical mythology.
All right, so we're both 0 for 1.
Wow.
Welcome to the club.
How about it? Ben, I feel like a loser.
You're a jerk. All right, here we go.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, your second phrase.
Here we go, yeah.
Catch lightning in a bottle.
Okay. Clearly from the movie Sweet Home Alabama, right? With Reese Witherspoon?
This is,
that's
it.
And fake Matthew
actually,
McConaughey?
This was over. It is to do something very difficult.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it an allusion to Benjamin Franklin's famous experiment with the kite and the key, where he was allegedly discovered electricity?
Yes. Yes.
And he had to catch the lightning in a jar so that he could,
we
do
got
his
it.
test.
Okay.
We understood where you were going.
Or the 1941 Brooklyn Dodgers, managed by Leo DeRocher, who had a ton of phrases in his life, and he needed them to catch lightning in a bottle. He also said that nice guys finish last.
Yeah.
They won 100 games, won the first pennant in 20 years, lost in the World Series that year.
See, this one seems like a trap to me. It would seem like you would go with Benjamin Franklin because of the electricity thing.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I'm going to go the other way and go with the baseball reference.
Wow.
Yeah.
You cross-faded me there.
I did.
No. I think he wants us to overthink it. I'm going Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
Benjamin Franklin is the answer.
Boom! Boom, baby! There you go. There you go.
Okay.
See, what your problem is? You did something you shouldn't do. Think.
I overthought.
You overthought it. Bubble Boy, we're pushed now for the year, right?
I overthanked it.
We're both 4 for 6. You overthunk it? Yeah. All right, here we go. What's the next one?
The third phrase. 3 sheets to the wind.
Hey!
Means this
now
show
we're speaking my language.
Means this show every day.
First segment for sure.
And we are taking it to the ocean.
Yeah.
Is it a nautical term to describe when a ship is in extremely rough weather and the sails have to be positioned against the wind to keep it from toppling over? And when 3 sails are against the wind, that is as much as they can do to keep it from crashing.
Gotcha.
Or
that would have sense, toppling over, drunk, falling down. I get it.
Okay.
Or is it when, also in the ocean, on a ship, when the sheets are actually the ropes that fasten the sail, and if 3 of them are not fastened properly and they're in the wind, then the sail is essentially useless and the ship will lurch around like a drunk person.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a tough one.
I'm going with number 1.
I feel strongly about number 1 as well. I'm going with number 1.
We all like
number 1.
We're going 1.
Everyone's going 1.
No! It was number 2?
It was.
Wow. All right, so we're both 4 for 6. God.
I've gotten all 3 wrong.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay.
You're closing in on your golden sombrero.
Holy smoke. Glad there's not 5 questions, or it would be the platinum sombrero.
All right, your final phrase.
Here we go.
Take with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
It means to view something with skepticism.
Right.
Like Golic's perfect record the first week.
You're not kidding.
Okay. We're going to go back to Rome for both of these.
Love it.
Was it the Roman author Pliny the Elder?
By the way, anything that involves Pliny the Elder, I'm all for. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, the beer
Pliny
is great
the
as
Elder.
well. He didn't
Pliny?
invent it, but it's a good one.
Pliny the Elder. Isn't that what Wade Boggs' character had to say in the Simpsons episode? He had to quote Pliny the Elder. I believe that's correct. We'll look that one up, Brett.
I'll look that one up after the segment.
Yeah.
Pliny the Elder. Salt was thought to be an antidote for poison, so to be safe, if you didn't know what you were eating or drinking, you should take it with salt.
All right.
Or is it the Roman general Pompey, who believed he could make himself immune to poison by consuming small amounts of it at a time, which is maybe not horrible science. And to make it go down easier, he would consume it with salt.
Okay, so now this is what I find really interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of the vaccines is actually what...
But it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
He's basically given us two versions of the same thing here. Take poison or take salt for help with poison, or take salt to help with poison. It's just a question of which one was it. Was it Pliny the Elder, or was it a Roman general?
Thank you for that explanation.
Basically, it's the same thing.
Do you think you're getting credit for this question just by giving us that information?
That makes it more frustrating.
Okay,
because there's
I'll
not
let you answer
difference.
first.
No, that's not the way this goes.
Number two. Number two.
I'm all in on Pliny the Elder. I'm going Pliny the Elder.
Two. Pliny the Elder is correct.
Hey! Bang! There it is.
Golden sombrero for Golic.
0 for 4. Wear that collar with pride, my friend.
Wow, I got smoked.
Who's the smart guy now?
Not me.
2 for 4. 2 for 4, 0 for 4.
This kind of tells you where this show goes when 50% is the smart one of this show.
Again, Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying, Hall of Fame.
Wow.
You go 500, you're getting in the Hall of Fame. That's the way it works.
I feel horrible.
And you should. We also need to we need to find out. I believe it was Wade Boggs that screamed out, "I am Pliny the Elder" in the Simpsons baseball
Could
episode.
I care less about that than anything else?
You could.
I just went 0 for 4 and something. I care what Wade Boggs says as a Simpson character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by the way, you messed that up too.
What?
You could care less. The phrase
I never say that.
The phrase
right.
is, I could not care less.
You know what I guarantee?
And he's the smart one.
Do you know what I guarantee you is going to happen when we go to break?
Yeah.
I'm going to punch you in the face.
Oh, hey, listen, use your words, not your fists. Mark.
Okay, no, I'm using my fist.
Use your feelings. Use your feelings. Say what you want. 5 for 8, 0 for 4.
You know what I can
Coming
do?
up, a clarification that made things more confusing, and Mike will speak, which will probably make things even more confusing.
Golic
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it.
and Wingo.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Nobody knew how to win when it came to the Masters or majors than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to be joined on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by 18-time major winner Jack Nicklaus. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app, join, and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Jack, good morning. Happy Masters Week, and thanks for being with us.
Sure, Trey. How you doing?
Very, very well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We are really interested about this Masters, Jack, because it seems like we may have some generational conflicts in terms of the young guns that have been playing so well. And you see Phil Mickelson winning at the age of 47 and Tiger at 42, rounding back into shape. As you get set for what will be the ceremonial first tee shot on Thursday, where's your anticipation level and excitement for this year's Masters field?
Well, it's probably more fellas have a chance to win this year than any year that I can recall in a long, long time. And you're absolutely right. Phil's playing well. Tiger is coming back and looks. I certainly expect him to contend. I don't know how whether he's ready to win yet or not, although he seems like he is. And I certainly think he's certainly got the experience here to do that. You've got as you say, the young guns, the middle guns, which is actually Dustin Johnson now. But then you got all the young guys with Jason Day and Rory and Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth. I mean, all seem to be playing well coming into the tournament. I think it's going to be a great week.
And this tournament, and everybody knows the meaning and the prestige of the Masters. And I saw a great piece of the history of the green jacket. And it really is fascinating. Everybody needs to find that and check it out. And a couple of fascinating stories, and yours was one of them, Jack. You told it during this piece. Of the 6 wins, your first was in 1963, your last in 1986. But explain to everybody that you didn't get your actual jacket, I believe you said, until 1998. Why did that happen?
They just never gave me one. In 63, they put on a 46 long on me, and I'm about a 43 regular. And it was like an overcoat. And then the next year I came back, and they didn't say a word about it. They just put Tom Dewey's, former governor of New York's jacket in my locker, and that fit me. And for the next 20-some years, I wore Tom Dewey's jacket. And all of a sudden, they put a water fountain up between 16 and 17 on my name. And Jack Stevens, the chairman, asked me, he told him the story, and he says, "What? So you've never gotten your own green jacket?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well." So there's a note in my locker when I got back on Tuesday to the tournament. I said, "You will go and be fit for your green jacket." That was 20 years ago, and I'm still wearing the same one.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
The guy with more green jackets than anybody really never got the green jacket
his own
until 12 years
after.
after.
Never got my own. I feel very abused by that.
But yet somehow, Jack, you found a way to persevere, which is the most important thing.
That's right.
18-time major winner Jack Nicklaus with us. Hey, head to Nicklaus.com for more information about what Jack is doing with his foundations and his businesses. And obviously, that was a big part of the Honda Classic this year, the charity that you guys have set up and Barbara have set up for the Children's Hospital there and everything you're doing in that area, which is great. But where would you put the state of golf right now? Because it seems like, as we talked about, with Phil and Tiger coming back and with all these young guns, it feels like golf is at a place that maybe it hasn't been in a few years, and it's really sort of been a rejuvenation for the game.
I think it's been fabulous. I think that tournament golf is as good as it's ever been, probably better than it's ever been. And, I thought it was pretty good when I played. Of course, everybody likes to think their own era is pretty good. But I think it was good then. But I think it's fantastic now, and I don't ever really sit down and watch golf, but I have lately a little bit because there's so many guys that have a chance to win, and I'm interested in all of them. And a lot of them are members of the Bears Club down in Florida here, and I talk to them all a lot. I mean, I talked to Rory a lot. Rory's one I didn't mention. I think, of course, obviously he's playing fantastic.
Right.
And John Rahm, I didn't mention him. John Rahm is playing fantastic. I mean, all these guys are playing well, and every time you turn around, another one's playing good. And so, you're just going to sit there and say, you're going to sit back and just say, wow, boy, is that another great shot? Is that another great round? It's what it is.
Jack, all sports evolve over time between the athletes, their size, their strength, and equipment as well. So when you were in your heyday and playing at Augusta and how that course needed to be played by greats like you and other players then, as opposed to how it needs to be played now, is it much different or is it close to the same?
Well, I think Augusta's done a really good job in being able to adjust the golf course to the golf ball. I mean, the golf ball basically goes 50 yards further than when I played, or has the capability of going 50 yards further. And, these guys are bigger, they're stronger. I mean, they called me Big Jack. I mean, I was no Big Jack. I mean, I was 5'11" and a half, and, I weighed about 185 pounds, and these guys today are 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, and they're obviously going to be bigger and stronger than I was, and I certainly hit the ball longer than anybody when I played, but now today they've got all of them hit it out there, and they all hit it out another 30, 40 yards past where I hit it.
Jack Nicklaus with us, 18-time major winner, 6-time winner of the Masters, which gets underway tomorrow. Jack, the draw sometimes is as interesting as anything else when you look at the Masters, because sometimes those Thunder Boomers and those fronts can come through in Augusta, and it changes the course dramatically. It looks like for the first 2 days the weather's going to be really great, maybe a little chilly in the morning on Thursday, but sunny and warm on Thursday and Friday, and then the potential of showers on Saturday. How much does that affect how the field is played out every year at Augusta?
I think it makes a tremendous difference. We're supposed to have a little rain this morning, and it's supposed to be fine this afternoon. But the golf course will not dry out, which means that the score should be relatively low. If we have a little wind, that might keep it up a little bit. But because the greens will be soft and they'll be there for the taking, and then if it rains again on the weekend, then it'll be soft again. So I think you're going to see some pretty low scores if that's the case. And when you get that, then the field is generally bunched too. When you get a high, dry sky and the wind's blowing, the greens get fast and firm. That's when somebody just plays well and separates himself from the field. I don't think that doesn't look to be the case this week.
When you found out what your pairings were, do you have times you'd rather be playing, and do you hear a pairing or a time you're playing and you're not happy about it? How does that work for you guys?
Well, at Augusta, they for some reason they have several pairings that are like at 2:00 in the afternoon. And those are the ones you didn't want to get, although they finally went back and changed it a few years ago to where they now put an early and late starting time for everybody. They didn't used to do that. You used to have a late starting time like at 2:30, and one guy might have played at 9 o'clock the day before, shoots a good round, and he might play a little later, but it's not adjusted by the field. It's adjusted by score. But now they go 2 rounds and then they play, which I think is a much better way. So I think it's equitable. I always like to get it. I didn't like that 2:30 starting time on the first day though. That was not my favorite. And fortunately I didn't get it too often. I mean, I got the 1 o'clock or 1:15 or something, but that was about as late as I got.
And along those lines, did it matter who you were grouped with? Did that come into play at all?
Well, I was always hoping I was going to be playing with the national amateur champion because that's who the defending champion plays with. that was my favorite pairing, and so. No, I didn't really care who I played with. I didn't make any difference to me who I played with, except in the last couple of rounds, I wanted to make sure that I was playing with somewhere near the leaders. That meant I was near the leaders too.
Jack Nicklaus with us, 18-time major winner, 6-time winner of the Masters. It's interesting what he just said about the late start. Everybody hates that. Like as NFL players, they always hate waiting around for a night game. You just want to get out there and get going.
That's right.
But, it's interesting. You hold the record as the oldest Masters champion at 46. Phil Mickelson turned 47, and he won this past year. And Tiger Woods, of course, is now at the age of 42. If you had to look at the 40-somethings, is there one that you think has a better chance? Because Phil's won this thing 3 times, and he's already won this year at a pretty high-level event. And then Tiger is getting there, but still hasn't broke through in the winner's circle yet. Is there one of those old guys at this point you'd lean more on one than the other?
Well, I think it's pretty hard to lean one way or the other. I think that Phil's playing really well. He's swinging nicely. He's putting well. He's got a lot of confidence coming in. But Tiger's Tiger, and Tiger's now starting to play well, and he almost won a couple of weeks ago, and he's been right there every tournament he's played. So, I'm to choose between the two of them. I think it would be. I think it'd be a little far-fetched to say that the 2 of them are going to come down to the end because I've got too many young players in there, but the 2 of them will be there.
Yeah, that's always been my dream scenario for this year. You have Phil and Tiger paired together in the second-to-last group and some of the young guns in the top group. That would be the dream scenario for me. But as for Tiger, are you surprised that he's been able to swing the way he's swinging now after the back fusion? Because I think we all thought if he could sort of be healthy, it might be good. But the fact that he's had the fastest recorded swing on tour this year, Jack, is absolutely remarkable when you think about what that back has been through.
Well, Tiger's pretty fit, and he's kept himself fit. And I sat next to him, which I usually do at the Masters dinner last night. We talked a little bit about it, and I thought that his swing is his head's much more level than it was, and I think it has to be because he can't bend down in it because of that fusion. But I think that's helped his golf swing. I wasn't too worried about Tiger coming back with a golf swing as long as his back stayed together. What was the issue was always going to be a short game, and when your back's killing you, you can't really stand over a chip and you can't stand over a putt. And now he can. He said, "I have no problem standing over a putt and chip." That's been his whole issue, and so and I'm sure that he's practiced a lot of that. So I don't think that. He's learned how to play around the fusion, and if that stays together, he's going to be a force for quite a few years.
One of the things is athletes talk about, Jack, is reps, this is I need to get my reps in to get better at this, to get better at that. And when Tiger talked about I just need to get out and play tournaments and get reps. So in my sport of football, reps means one thing for an amount of time. What does it mean in golf? I know you can't pinpoint it to an exact time, but as far as how many reps, how many tournaments that a player would need when they've been out of it to get back into it and get back into that flow again?
Well, generally when you've just taken, a couple of months off and had an injury and come back, then maybe it's 1 or 2 tournaments. But in Tiger's case, it's been, 2 or 3 years. And actually in 10 years since he's won a major. And so, that takes a little longer. He's gotten back amazingly fast, but until he wins, that'll be still taking reps for himself. And it may take him, maybe this week, it may be, 3 or 4 months from now. But as I said, I think if his body stays together, I think he'll put enough reps in that he can play. And I think he's 42 years old. He understands the game. He's won 1,000 tournaments, and he's just real good, and his mind is good, and so and particularly right now it's really hungry.
Right.
He hasn't played for a while, and all of a sudden he says, "Man, I can play again. I'm going to be ready," and that's what he's doing. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you can certainly see the fire in his eyes out there that wasn't there when he was trying to limp around the golf course for a couple of years. And obviously, a lot of eyeballs, Jack, will be on Tiger because of the attention he brings, and it's just a different level. The ratings spike when he's in there. But Rory McIlroy, you brought up his name up, who won at Bay Hill and just blitzkrieged the field on Sunday with that unbelievable 8 under 64. Has a chance now this week to join the most exclusive fraternity really in all of golf, which is one that you're a part of. Only 5 men have won the 4 professional majors as they're currently constructed. And the interesting thing is, Jack, it looked like in 2011 the Masters was going to be his first major, and then he sort of fell apart on the back nine, shot a 43 and an 80 on Sunday, and then went on to win a Congressional, and now has a chance to add the green jacket to the other 3 majors that he's got. How seriously do you think his chances are, knowing what's on the line for him in terms of history?
Well, I don't think what's on line for him is history. I think it's just playing in a golf tournament and playing the Masters is what's on line for him. And I saw Roy. I talked to him a couple of times last week, and I watched him hit some balls last week. Unbelievable how well he's swinging. I've never seen him swing quite as nicely as he's swinging right now. He's taking the club back beautifully, setting it in a great position. His tempo is great. He's got confidence. He's going to be tough to beat.
And certainly one of the great moments in this tournament, Jack, is that ceremonial tee shot that you and Gary Player and Arnold Palmer had been hitting for a number of years now. God rest his soul, Arnold not there anymore, and it's just you and Gary. So first, before I ask about a third to that, we know on the golf course there is wagers made all the time. Do you and Gary have any kind of wagers on your tee shots?
No, just bragging rights. I think Gary is, he's as fit as any 82-year-old man you'll ever see. And he's very limber. He takes a nice full golf swing. I can get it back to about a 50-yard chip length. and frankly, I played with Gary. Probably about a month ago, and he outdrove me nearly every hole. And so we've got a big challenge on the first hole. I got to keep Gary from winning his 4th green jacket on the first hole tomorrow morning.
And then the other thing is with Arnold. Obviously, Arnold passing away. Is there a thought that they will add a third to you guys, possibly a Tom Watson or somebody else, or is it just going to be the 2 of you? Has that been discussed?
No, it hadn't been discussed. Nobody discusses anything with us down here. I think that's okay. And my guess is, though, that Tom will come along shortly, and probably sooner rather than later. Gary and I are getting a little long in the tooth, and so I think it's probably a smart thing to bring a couple of younger guys in. And frankly, it would certainly be welcomed by us.
Well, listen, Jack, we don't mind that either you or Gary are long in the tooth, and we hope those tooth stay long for a very long time, by the way. I just want to be clear about that, Jack. As a 6-time Masters winner, 18-time major winner, Jack Nicklaus is with us on Golic and Wingo this morning. Okay, so I sort of presented my dream scenario for Sunday. Phil and Tiger in the second-to-last group trying to chase down a couple of the young guns or medium guns that you alluded to with Dustin Johnson. Is there a dream scenario in your mind that you would like to see play out Sunday?
Well, I just like to see them all play well. Obviously, I like them all. I like all the guys. I spend a lot of time talking with a lot of them, and if you got Rory and Justin and Jason and Ricky and those guys coming down the stretch with Tiger and Phil in there. I mean, what a great Masters that would be. Would it be great for any golf tournament?
Yeah.
And I think the cream comes to the crop more at Augusta than it does any place else, and that's sort of what we're going to be watching. But it'll be interesting. I mean, it won't happen that all of them will be there, but I certainly expect. I would say close to what you were talking about earlier. I think you're going to see both Tiger and Phil, and I think you're going to see 2 or 3 of the young guns right there.
Well, the possibilities this year are absolutely endless. And I know you probably don't want to do this, but we've had every guest we've had on this week make a prediction. Jim Boeheim went with Bubba Watson. Roy Williams went with Tiger Woods. Do you have one guy? Are you willing to make a prediction, or are you just going to let it play out?
I'm going to let it play out. All these guys are members down at our Bears Club, and I see them all the time. And if I pick one over the other, they're going to be looking at me cross-eyed. So I'm just going to say I hope that the one that plays the best and the best man wins, which is kind of an old cliche, but it's the way I feel.
Probably the smart move there. And maybe the most important question, because I love food. How was the Spanish lobster rice last night at the Champions Dinner?
Actually, it was absolutely delicious. Sergio had a nice menu. He tried to get an international flavor. I think he had 10 different things in the salad that came from 10 different countries, and his Spanish rice was from his or the rice with the lobster from his hometown, and then he had a dessert that it was his wife's. And so I think that it was a nice touch, and everybody enjoyed it.
Jack, the shocker there was that Mike asked about the entree, not the dessert, the tres leches. That floored me. I thought I knew this guy, and he went there.
Well, and Jack, you got to pick a lot of the dinners because of all the times you won. Did you have a favorite dinner that you picked?
Well, it was really kind of funny. I'll never forget it. The first time I won the Masters, Bowman was sort of the maitre d' down here then, and Bowman came to me and he said, "Mr. Nicklaus," he said, "how would you like to pick your menu for the dinner?" And I said, "Well, what should I do?" She says, "Well, Mr. Roberts, he likes to have a strip steak, a baked potato, green beans, a tossed salad, and white pears for dessert. If that would be all right, would that be your choice?" I said, "That's just fine with me."
You were given your choices.
He was setting you up to make sure the right people were happy. That's
no right. Question. That was just fine with me.
I could see why that would be the case. Well, Jack, it was just fine with us to have you on this morning. Always a delight. Best of luck in the wager on the first tee tomorrow for bragging rights with Gary, and we look forward to what we hope will be a Masters to remember.
Thanks, Jack.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Nice to talk to you again.
Golic and Wingo.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold. It's very interesting where that went.
All right, we continue on Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Adam Schefter in with us. In the last segment, we asked him to make his Masters pick. He said Russell Henley.
Who are you picking?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah. I'll come to that conclusion in less than an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Justin Rose has never bet either, right?
Justin Rose never bet. I'm telling you. Well, you know what? Based on the way they're playing and what's at stake, I may go with Rory McIlroy. I mean, then he would be the 6th to win all 4.
I still have a lot of research to do and things to break down before I make my pick.
Yeah, sure you do.
Yeah.
By the way, we'll hear from Rory next hour. Okay, Adam with us, not only an NFL insider, he does everything, and pulling Russell Henley out. Well done. Nicely done on your part.
That's Shefty's pick for the Masters.
Russell Henley, Georgia Bulldog. So then the question becomes this Patriots, what they do with these first, because I think, Adam, how they play these picks will tell us a great deal about two things. One, what's going on with Tom Brady, but maybe more importantly, what's going on with Bill Belichick. Because if they're all in and they use these picks to solidify things around the team, then I think they're trying to get one more ring before it all goes away.
I may be naive here, but I think that Bill Belichick is going to do what's right for the organization, taking his situation out of it.
But that's an interesting question, because what is right for the organization?
What's right for the organization is if there is a quarterback there that they like and identify
sets them up for the future.
That you go ahead and take him.
Then to me, that would say that Bill Belichick has no interest in retiring from this.
I don't think it has any bearing on him. I really don't. I think that if he sees, let's just say Mason Rudolph there at 23.
Everybody's sleeping on him. I think he's really good.
I'm just throwing this out there. Yeah. Mason Rudolph at 23. Okay, they like Mason Rudolph at 23. They take him. And Bill Belichick wants to walk away at the end of next year. I think he does that. If he wants to walk away at 2 years, he does that. I think what he does with the quarterback position is totally separate from his decision about how long he wants to coach.
So you're saying he makes a football decision like he's been doing for decades.
Correct.
For what's good for the team at that time.
That's what I believe.
I agree. I just think he's in that mode of how, and the mode of not being able to figure out what they're going to do, quite honestly. But it would not shock me at all if they were to grab a quarterback because they have enough ammunition with the other picks to do other things as well. I do think they can have their cake and eat it too by getting a quarterback if they want, and then they have the other picks to work on either drafting players or using it to get veteran players, which we know they've done so well over the years.
Point of parliamentary procedure, you got that one wrong too. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't. That's not the issue. You can eat your cake and still have it. You see what I mean? If you have your cake, you eat it. That's fine. It's not that. You can't eat your cake and still have it. Yeah, you can't eat your cake and still have it. So there you go.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You've just taken up 30 seconds.
Cake.
Well, look,
Golic likes cake.
Well, we know that, but I just wanted you to know for future reference. It's not have your cake and eat it.
The next time I use that, I'm going to say the exact same thing. So.
Okay, well, you'll still be wrong.
Okay.
I could care less about that.
There
as
you go.
Said. I could not care less.
Oh, my God.
Separate discussion entirely.
Please move on.
Separate discussion entirely. The bigger question then becomes, Adam, not from the Patriots' perspective, but from the Rams' perspective. They're all in. Yeah. They're trying to win 4 Super Bowls.
Dream team too, right?
Yes. Here's the question. What's more likely to happen in the NFC? That the Rams make a deep playoff run? The Vikings with Kirk Cousins make a deep playoff run? The Saints with more additions on the defense make a deep playoff run? Or the Eagles make a deeper playoff run? Because only one of them is going to be where they want to be, and yet every single team thinks with all these moves, they're in the prime position of the NFC.
Or somebody from the field emerges, which is always the case in the NFL, because at this time last year, you never would have talked about the Rams at this point in time. And I can tell you, this was an actual conversation that occurred within their building yesterday, where yesterday they went in and they're talking about all this talent on paper and how they're supposed to be good. Well, last year, they didn't have that talent on paper, and they won the division.
Correct.
This year, they've got the talent, which doesn't mean that they win the division again. So things in football go funny directions. And again, they'll go into this season as the favorite in the NFC West, as a darling. A lot of people will pick them for the Super Bowl. It'll be a trendy pick. But just because they have added all this talent doesn't mean that this season is even better than last year when they didn't have a lot of this talent. That's the way the NFL works.
No, I get that. But out of those 3 teams, is there one that you would have more confidence in, Minnesota, the Rams, or the Saints?
I like them all. I think they're all really
You can't
tough.
like them all.
Okay, I got to pick one right now?
You can't like them all.
You do. That's kind of what we do. We're not holding you to it. You can change it next week.
I think, listen, the defense in Minnesota is so strong that it's tough to go against that defense. So I'll bank on that defense in Minnesota as carrying that team. I love the run game in New Orleans, too, though, and that can carry a team.
Yeah, well,
right?
That's why that makes the question so tough, quite honestly. And one of the reasons I lean toward the Rams was the division that they're in. I like the way the 49ers are going, but I don't think they're there yet. Seattle's in transition, and the Cardinals, I don't think are going to be there. Yeah.
And so they're I agree with all your points. Yep. And the Eagles, I believe, were a loaded roster that gets back Carson Wentz.
Right.
So, when? That's the big question.
Well, that is the big
when?
question. And we'll see whether or not he's ready for the regular season opener. I think that they're going to take the long-range view, knowing that you've got Nick Foles and knowing that you're not going to rush.
Take your time, right.
Carson. I think they're going to be very patient about that. I won't be surprised if he's not there to start.
Because the thing, no matter what happens with Nick Foles starting the season, there is zero quarterback controversy in Philadelphia. If Nick Foles knows it, everybody knows it. When Carson Wentz is ready, he will be back.
The fact that Nick Foles is still on the roster tells me everything I need to know about what the expectations are for Carson Wentz.
No, because they just were never going to get an offer good enough to deal him.
Exactly, and they needed something to be blown away to take away their best insurance policy. I mean, Carson Wentz ripped up that knee in December. It wasn't in September.
And it's a 9 to 12 month injury.
So I think the odds Carson Wentz being out there for week 1, I don't care what anyone says. I think
or long.
Very small that he'll be there week 1. That's why he's stayed there. DJ Shefty, Chef.
Thanks, man.
You're the best.
Thank you,
Live
guys.
for these segments. Kill for him. Adam Schefter, no one better.
That's good, Trey.
Golic and Wingo.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
The one-man celebration who joins us now. The Marty Party continues. Marty Smith. Marty Smith's America. The podcast, downloaded and subscribe on the ESPN app and the Apple Podcast. Marty, good morning. You are on hallowed ground this morning at Augusta National. How excited, first of all, are you to be there at the Masters?
Well, good morning, boys. That's right. The party's in town. I'll say this. There are certain institutions in this country, like the Kentucky Derby, the Indianapolis 500, certainly the Masters, that we celebrate. I mean, these are days that we celebrate and events that we celebrate. And we build them up in our minds to a certain level that you don't ever believe that they could achieve. Well, this one exceeds it. I don't know how. You could not have a higher expectation for something than I had for Augusta National. And I walked around, I followed Tiger and Phil and the guys yesterday morning for about, 7 or 8 holes or so. Walked with them, watched the whole time. And I was just completely taken aback at how gorgeous everything is. And, you see it on TV, and it's like, well, man, that's gorgeous. I wonder how they do that. Well, it's a whole other level being here. It's a green I've never seen, and I've been to Ireland 3 times.
That is a good way of putting it. It is one thing, as Marty Smith joins us, the one thing that I think a lot of people that go to Augusta for the first time don't understand is how hilly the course is. I don't think that translates on television, but once you get there and you're actually walking that course, you realize this is not just a stroll through a park somewhere.
No, and when you do it in a tailored suit and the sun's really hot, it's a different thing, Trey. That's why I only went 7 or 8 holes with them. I had to get inside, brother. I needed that AC.
Man,
the undulation here is crazy. I mean, it really is. You're right. In all seriousness, it is extremely hilly, and you don't realize that on TV. You cannot respect or appreciate the actual. Is topography the right word?
That is.
Am I making a word up?
That's
I might
it.
be. Is that the right word? Okay. Yeah. My geography professors from Radford will be thrilled by that. Anyway, you can't respect that until you're actually here. And, that's you notice that sometimes. I always experienced that when I did auto racing so much. You can't respect the actual live event until you're immersed in it. And this is one of those events. And not just the topography. That's going to be my word of the day.
Bingo.
But also the tradition and the reverence and the appreciation. One thing that I found to be the most interesting so far is in today's world, whether it's the NFL or it's NASCAR, most leagues are doing everything they can to determine how to make cell phones more usable at their events. How can we make that user experience? Let's add Wi-Fi, all of that mess. And this place, you can't even have your phone. And what I've noticed is because of that, you're more engaged in your fellow man. You're more engaged in the event itself. You're more engaged in that reverence and tradition. And I'm all in. We need more of that.
Talking to Marty Smith, Marty Smith's America, the podcast. And in this last podcast, you talked to both Rory McIlroy, who's going for the career slam, and Tiger Woods, who's making yet another comeback. This one seems a lot more for real than his others. So in each one, let's start with Tiger. In each one, when you talk to people that long, normally there's a, oh, I didn't see that coming moment. So let's start with Tiger and then to Rory. What part of the interview for both those guys surprised you the most?
Well, we'll start with Tiger, Mike. Honestly, it was when he walked in the door. I got up to shake his hand, and he gave me a big bro hug. And I wasn't expecting that. So I found him to be completely disarmed. I was expecting him to be much more guarded than he was. He was open. He was vulnerable. He was considerate of what I was asking him and thoughtful in his response. And what I found, my greatest takeaway from spending that 45 or 50 minutes with him down at Medalist Golf Club a couple weeks ago was a newfound joy and a newfound appreciation. Look, I'd never met him until that day. So like most people, I only witnessed him from afar as a fan of his. And there's a vulnerability and a new appreciation for the talent he was given and the hard work he put in to be arguably the greatest that's ever done it. him and the guy you guys just spoke with, Mr. Nicklaus. So I feel like he's kind of playing with house money. And as descriptive as he was about his injury, about his back pain, he was talking about it being so debilitating, he couldn't get out of bed some days. And some of those days when he could get out of bed, he fell straight to the floor because he couldn't stand up. And when Mike knows, I mean, when you're an elite athlete, when you're playing at the absolute pinnacle level, and especially him, a guy who's been so dominant in the past, when you get out of bed and you can't get out of bed, there's certainly a mental and psychological impact to that. He didn't think he was ever going to play again, and quite frankly, he didn't care to. He just didn't want to hurt anymore. So now for his club speed to be as fast as it's ever been, for him to have the pain-free ability to play the game that he's loved his whole life again, it's house money. And that's why I think he's going to be really formidable over the next couple of days. Now, with Rory, I met Rory last year, and I was so impressed with him as a person. He's extremely kind, he's thoughtful, and I really enjoyed my time with him. So this time around, since I already knew him, we already had kind of gotten to that next level of understanding one another. And the thing that was so surprising to me about spending this time with Rory was during his injury, he had a rib thing going on last year that was really, really inhibited his ability to be great. And he told me that rib injury did not allow him to practice and prepare to the level that he demanded of himself. And there were some tournaments when he finished tied for 5th or 6th where he was happy with it, but in his mind, in his conscience, he felt he didn't deserve to even be there. He didn't deserve to have finished that well because he didn't feel like he put in the work. And for an athlete to admit that I have not prepared to a level that I demand of myself, and despite the results, I don't feel like I deserve them, was very telling to me about his passion and devotion for achieving excellence and the manner in which he does so.
The loquacious Marty Smith with us this morning from Augusta National. Say another bonus word. Hey, real quickly before we move on, we just played the video of your podcast with Rory. You guys are sitting down at a restaurant. What were you guys eating? I'm hungry, so I wanted to know what that was.
Taco Tuesday, baby, at Rocco's Tacos in Palm Beach, Florida. I've had some good tacos in my day, boys. Next time you're in Palm Beach, just trust me on this.
I will. Taco Tuesday. I'm on Rocco Taco. Is that what you call it?
Love that.
Right, yeah, man. Rocco's Tacos, Palm Beach, Florida.
Rocco's
Taco Tuesday.
All in on it. All right, so listen. In the short amount of time we have left, we're asking everybody to give us their Masters prediction. I know you've talked a lot about Rory. You talked a lot about Tiger. There's Phil. There's John Rahm. There's Dustin. There's Jordan. There's Justin. There's Rory. There's Ricky. Is there one guy you like more than anybody else?
That was an excellent job of rattling off all of those names so rapidly.
I can.
Good work right there, brother. Look, I'm a homer on this one. I'm going with Tiger, and the reason I'm going with Tiger is that joy I discussed. His demeanor right now is he's so fulfilled right now. He's able to be the father he wants to be. He's playing the game he loves again with freedom, and I feel like that's a very scary prospect for his peers.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if these younger peers will finally see the full wrath that his older peers you had to deal with all those years. It is always a party. You know what? Any segment with Marty Smith is like Taco Tuesday at Rocco's Tacos.
There you go.
I think that's what we can say with great certainty. You are an American original, my friend.
And you learn about topography and loquaciousness, no less.
And that's our bailiwick, which is stealing Golic's word there right now. Brother, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you, boys. Appreciate you.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or just ask your smart speaker to play Golic and Wingo. Plus, you can check the guys out live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN News.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.